What I'm about to do for you guys today, I've done for a lot of people in our one-on-one workshop meetings. So every now and then, guys, probably about like twice a year, and more than likely, I'm going to open this up to the community. I do workshops here in San Antonio, Texas, where y'all can fly in, drive in, whatever it is that you guys want to do to get here, and we spend a whole 1 to 2 days together, sometimes three, and during that time frame. I could teach real estate the whole time, which is cool, but always in the beginning, we do specific things that kind of set the premise for where it is that we're trying to go and what it is that we're trying to accomplish. Okay. And so, guys, truthfully, man, one of the first most valuable seminars that I ever went to, and this is just me speaking from experience, was two. It was two. It was two seminars. If you guys ever come up with that kind of throwaway money where you're willing to invest it in something like this, and you're trying to fix something that's happening up here, guys, I mean, church goes so far, like normal real estate events, they go so far. Let me tell you something. The best money that I've ever spent learning anything from anybody was going to my first date with Destiny with Tony Robbins. It was beautiful. It was right before the world shut down in COVID. And then I threw my event a couple of weeks after that. And then I went to a business mastery with Tony Robbins. Guys, if you have feel like you've been literally just like fighting demons for a long period of time, Date with Destiny is one of the greatest things that I've ever put money into in my whole life. Okay. It's like 5 grand for just the GA ticket, 10 to 15 for like the VIP experience, dinners, and all of that with the networking. I met a girl who owned the hospital that Grey's Anatomy was filmed out of. It's a small little Asian chick, and she was like 90 when I met her. I also met a gentleman who had owned an ATM business, and the ATM business was making her about, I don't know, like I think about like $600-700 every minute. It was crazy. So I'd never thought that I'd ever meet a billionaire before until I went to a Tony Robbins event. But at these events, guys, what I love about it is what Tony teaches is not like niche down. It's honestly very broad, but it's something that most business owners lack. And that's the vision. That's the vision. And so like if you've never had a vision before, if you've never had the fixation on whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, then these things that we try to do every single day, Monday through Friday, sometimes they seem very sporadic. Like we don't know if we should cold call today, if we should drive for dollars today. We don't know if we should knock on doors today or look up pre-foreclosures today. And then you have your job and then family and everything else that's getting in here. And the reality is, guys, because we keep it in our heads. And so I want y'all to write this thing down, okay? Because this is very important. The brain is always trying to do four things. No matter what it is, it's trying to do four things. Number one, it's gonna keep you alive. Okay. So like why do we not put our hands in fire? Is because we know that that shit's going to hurt us, right? And so that's number one. It has to keep you alive. Number two, this is honestly like say what you will, but we have to eat. And without food, proper nutrients, what happens? We can't think. We get brain fog. We have to eat no matter what. The third piece, have you guys ever gone 3 or 4 days without sleep and see how miserable you feel? We need to sleep no matter what. We need to sleep. And then the fourth thing, this is a curse for my fellas in the building. This isn't so bad for my ladies that are in the building, but we have to mate. Okay. And without sex, without intercourse, without something that releases you, we tend to get built up like crazy. And then what happens is that our brains are controlled by our hormones that are not being regulated. Now, I'm not saying that you should fall victim to pornography and that you should masturbate or any of those things. I'm saying that all of these are very debilitating ailments on what it is to be a human. We're the only species on this entire planet that does not adapt to its environment. Our planet is 80% water, yet we cannot breathe underwater. Kind of leaves the conversation open to wondering if whether or not humans are actually from here, right? Because everything else seems to adapt. That is another conspiracy theory. Let's not get into that real quick, but that could be a whole nother conversation. But these four things are human. They are what make us human, okay? And then God just happened to plant free will in the middle of it, and then we went and messed things up. And about 80% of the Bible is God trying to fix what man messed up. And so when we think about this and we put it into perspective, right? Most of us, we live and we operate within the flesh, meaning that, like, if we have a great idea, Y'all don't know how to just stop what you're doing real quick and talk into Chat GBT about your idea and categorize it. Y'all don't know how to just take scripture from a Bible and not just read one piece of scripture inside of your Bible, but to use technology and the internet to break down what scripture actually means and ask the proper questions and take it further. When we have these ideas, man, it's almost impossible to store it up here and remember it. Graveyards. And if you guys signed up for my program through the website, I put this quote in there that you would get an email. Graveyards are the wealthiest places in the world because they are filled with the minds and the geniusness of people who had great ideas but never took action. It's one of my favorite quotes. It's by John D. Rockefeller. And you see what John D. Rockefeller had was he had this book, right? And in this book, every single idea that he had, he wrote it down. He wrote it down. He made sure that it was always not just in here, but in here. You see, guys, ideas they die in the mind if you don't materialize them and put them on paper. And so this whole program, everything that we have here, like all these stuff, the modules, the courses, none of that work if you don't have a direction. You should be able to go into the classroom and have a direction based on your own personal goals of what it is that you were trying to do. I can't just give it to you because everybody's goals is different. And this is something that I've come to realize just being in the space, working with other people, learning about the mind, learning about the body, learning about the spirit, learning about God, learning about business. All of these things are like intertwined into this trifecta of what makes you unique. And so for me to just say that I can create a course that's suitable for anybody and that you can just hop in and become successful is honestly wrong. And anybody who tells you that is wrong because you have specific goals, specific wants, specific needs. And unless I'm meeting with you one on one, will I ever truthfully be able to define them? So I'm going to teach you today how to organize your thoughts and how to put them on paper so that no matter what happens, you know your God given purpose and what He has created for you and what He is asking you to do because you have to receive this to understand it. Okay. So I pray that you all receive this message this morning. I'm not going to go into scripture. I've been getting a lot of messages from you guys, and y'all are like, where do I start? Right. And so I'm going to kind of just break it down for you so that you know where you start, not just where I would want you to start. Okay. And this is the biggest self-realization Zoom call I will probably ever do, and it's going to be inside of the classroom very soon, as soon as the recording's done. But this is for anybody who absolutely is just wandering. And sometimes we might just join the group, and that's our first initiation on no longer wandering. But some of y'all might join something like this and you're still wandering. Okay. And so, first and foremost, what we need to do is we need to create what's called a map. All right. Now, I talked about this briefly in another Zoom call, but I'm going to dive into this on a real call with you guys today. A map is an acronym. A map stands for Massive Action Plan. My marker might be dying. Massive Action Plan. That's what a map is. So I want y'all to draw a big square right here in front of you. If you can, if you're driving, pull over and just, be with me for a minute, okay? This big square is our vision. It's what we see for ourselves. It's what we want for ourselves. And that vision is like a combination of things. We see ourselves married to the most beautiful woman in the world. We see ourselves with a partner that can take care of us and provide us. We see ourselves with lots of money, maybe lots of possessions, maybe a big house, right? And so life happens. You get to this point, you figure out what it is that you want. Now you're like, okay, I want to jump into this. This is something that I truthfully think will work for me. You took the first step. You joined a community. You literally grew balls overnight, and you say, you know what? I'm going to jump all in with what Q has to say. And now you have this vision of what your life can be. Okay. This vision is forever going to be expanding. As you get older, the more people, the more places, the more things that you're going to leave behind. That's the curse of what it is to be in this body, is that the older that we get, the people that we love are going to leave us eventually. We're going to be here and we are either going to die alone or surrounded by the people that we love and care about. That's the reality. But we have this vision of what we truthfully believe that God can give to us. And that vision is the starting point of reality. Okay? It's what we believe that God is willing to give to us in this lifetime forever. And so we have this map. This map is our vision. This vision tells the story of what it is that we actually want for ourselves. And so, guys, the book that I'm going to be referencing today that's going to kind of help us with bringing this vision to life It's called Think and Grow Rich. All right. So, guys, if y'all have never read this book before, it's one of my favorite books of all time. And Think and Grow Rich was written by a gentleman named Napoleon Hill. And Napoleon Hill was, I mean, he was a genius, if I'm being quite honest. One second, guys. I think my marker died. If not, we're gonna have to roll with this thing a cappella. I don't know how that happened. That sucks. Oh well. We'll use this. We'll use the thing that we have here. So I'm going to use the whiteboard for the remainder of this call. I'll document this. All right. Now try not to touch the screens, y'all. For some reason, I don't know how to enable for you guys to not be able to move what's on this whiteboard. And so we have a bunch. I put a whiteboard up here. Let me see if there's a way that I can limit you guys from being able to message it. All eyes on me. Cool. Got that. Allow for users, private mode, timer presentation. Okay, maybe there's a classic version too of the whiteboard. Move whiteboard to a project, whiteboard history, export view. I'm just making sure that when I start drawing on here, we essentially aren't going to be interrupted. Okay. So again, I'm going to draw it out here. It'll be the same thing. Okay. And this thing right here, we're going to call this, oh, not that. There we go. The vision. Okay. And so again, this right here is the vision of what we truthfully feel that we can have for ourselves. Now, the second piece is that this is also a map. And a map is an acronym. What does it stand for again? Drop it in the comments. Massive Action Plan. Who's following me? Come on, let's follow this thing together. Massive Action Plan. And this could be a lot of different things, all right? Now, to create a map, first you got to figure out a way to plant yourself in it. And so one of my favorite books, and I mentioned this a second ago, it's called Think and Grow Rich. I highly recommend that anybody who's a part of this mastermind read this book. It's one of the most valuable books I think I've ever read in my life, to be honest. And what's really cool is that it's free 99 on the internet. I've also added it to the resource vault so that you guys would have access to it, right? But this is one of my favorite chapters in the book, and it's chapter 2. And I talked about this in the pre-course work, right? But for some of y'all that may have not gotten a chance to go through all of that, I'm going to break it down in today's call for you today. But if you go to Google and let's say you can't find it in the resource vault, it's free. You can download this book and it's free. Okay. So I'm going to pull it up real fast because there's a chapter that I love so much that is literally the second chapter of the book. So I'm going to pull it up and we're going to look at it together. Okay. How do I just delete that? There we go. I wish there
That
was a way that I
that was me, Q. I was trying to actually interact with the board, like you said, but I don't know how to do that. So I added 2 lines. My bad.
don't interact with the board was what I said.
Oh, well, I see names pop up on the board though, so I was confused. All right, no doubt.
You're fine. You're fine.
How
So
you doing
this is
today, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So this is the book right here that I'm referencing today. Okay. And so in this book here, guys, we're going to talk about a couple of things. In the second chapter, like you can tell that there's table of contents here, but chapter 2 goes over a very interesting topic called desire. And I mentioned this story in a previous call about a gentleman named Edwin C. Barnes who had the desire to become a partner of Mr. Thomas Edison. Okay. And so, guys, I love this so much because there's this thing that I truthfully feel that everybody here should do because this is what helped me understand where it was that I wanted to go. And so I'm going to run back to this book here in a minute. First, I'm going to go back to the whiteboard, okay? And this is the reality. This is what we need to do first. First, you need to draw out exactly where it is that you are. Most people, they create this map inside of their mind, but they don't necessarily know exactly where they are. And so without having that, it's almost impossible to even know where it is that you're trying to go when you don't even know where you are. And so X marks the spot in anything that it is that we're trying to do. Okay, we're going to say that this is the X, and I'm going to put this on the map. So the reality is we have to first measure where we are to figure out where it is that we want to go. We're going to call this thing right here the measurement, okay? And so we're trying to figure out here exactly where it is that we are. And so number one, let's start first. How much money do we have? money, right? What resources we have, what time we have to delegate to this, and let's say it could also be like how can I say this? What systems that we're willing to put in place, and then a plan. These are the things that essentially make up for this part here that essentially will give you like a general idea of where you are. You have to measure where you are. You know, what is one of the first things that people do when they decide that they want to lose weight? They step on a what? They step on a scale, right? And so this is you stepping on a scale with your life. And the measurement, the numbers that you see in front of you are going to be exactly what you have with you today. That's how you do this. First and foremost, you want to start by measuring where you are. Without knowing where you are, then you just kind of have this big vision of what can be, but you don't necessarily know where it is that you're trying to go. And because of that, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot with the idea of that you could get anywhere when you don't even know where you are. You can't go somewhere if you don't know where you are. Am I right? Come on, guys. How many of y'all have ever been lost without a GPS or a map? It's one of the worst things. Have you ever tried to go somewhere without a GPS or a map and you don't know where the destination is? As a matter of fact, you don't know where you are. We're on my GPS people in the building here. Come on, man. Am I speaking to somebody? I've been there, dude, and it's been embarrassing. Sometimes I know where I'm going and I have a map anyway, and I still choose to go my own way. When GPS is literally trying to work its way into my life and tell me that this is where I'm at and this is where you got to go. And I'd be like, well, I already know where I'm going to go, but I'll still deteriorate from the GPS. Next thing you know, it says, boom, you have to take this exit, 30 minutes added to the end drive. Come on, man. I know I'm speaking to somebody here, but that's exactly what it's like when you deny God and you're not allowing for God to take you to where it is that you want to go. You think you know the direction, but let me tell you something. God knows the direction. And not saying that GPS knows what we're talking about, but God knows what we're talking about. Okay. And so, again, first we have to measure where it is that we are: money, resources, time, systems, plan. Okay. Then once we have all of those things in place, now we can begin the idea of where it is that we're trying to go. I've introduced a lot of things over the last week with y'all. I mean, it's been a crazy time. I think last week, I think I met with y'all almost 11 times. And there was a lot of directions that we were pulled, but that's okay. My goal was to kind of create a plan, make it exciting that y'all are here, and to show y'all how many different types of resources and tools are present so that we can all be in the same place together. So again, step one is to measure where you are. Okay. So measure where you are, and then we're going to begin this practice here. Now, I want everybody here to kind of be a part of this. Okay. The first thing that we're going to do is going to write this stuff down. It starts here. Every human being who reaches the age of understanding of the purpose of money wishes for it. Wishing will not bring you riches, but desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes almost an obsession, then planning definite ways and means to acquire the riches and backing those plans with persistence, which does not recognize failure, will bring riches. The method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into the financial equivalent consists of 6 definite practical steps. These are the steps. So first one, like first and foremost, this is step 1. I want you guys to fix in your mind the exact amount of money that you desire. It is not sufficient to merely say, I want plenty of money, because everybody wants plenty of money. You have to be definite as to the amount. There is a psychological reason for this definiteness, which will be described in a subsequent chapter. You see, guys, there's this thing, it's called transmutation of thought. And in the brain, there's this system that works with you. It's called a reticular activating system. A reticular activating system is when you see something more often because you're surrounded by it more often. It's like the brain begins to see it. Now, we only have access to so much in the brain. Now, why am I telling you guys this? This right here is going to probably be one of the most craziest things that I've ever told you before, but think about it for a second. Have you ever bought a vehicle before? Who here owns a car? I own a car, right? I remember I was so excited. Everybody here owns a car. I hope everybody owns a car. If you don't own a car, it's all good. But I'm sure that you have a car that you're associated with, whether it be your brother, mom, sister. If you got a car, drop a one in the comments just so I know I'm not talking to people that aren't driving right now. And so think about it. What kind of car do you own? Drop that in the comment section. What kind of car are you driving right now? When I first made it big, I wanted to buy my dream car. And so I did. I went into a lot and I bought a Corvette C8 2022 brand new right off of the lot. It is a Z51 package. I paid $120,000 for this car. And it's one of my favorite vehicles. I still have it today. And this is what's really weird about this is that I swear to you before in my life that until I owned a Corvette, I really never saw a Corvette. I never really looked at them like that. They didn't necessarily appear to me. And like I probably would have been driving down the street and maybe saw one, maybe, and in like a month, right? But then what happened is that I made it a reality and I bought the Corvette. And when I bought the Corvette, guess what I'm seeing every day? I don't know why, but since I'm driving one, I see every Corvette that passes by in my neighborhood. Sometimes I'll see like 15, 20 Corvettes in a day. It's ridiculous. You would think that something like that meant so much to me, I would not see everybody else have one? And so your boy got mad and I said, you know what? I'm going to have a Corvette like nobody else has a Corvette. And I went and I decked it out. I put like 60 grand into my Corvette so that nobody would have a Corvette like mine. I'm pretty sure that in the United States of America, I'm one of the only full blown chrome wrapped rose gold chrome Corvettes that you will ever see that has the Lambo doors, airbags to drop it all the way to the ground. I put carbon fiber throughout the whole thing. I mean, the wheels on it are $7,000 a wheel. It's crazy. And so I put a lot of money into my Corvette because I wanted a vehicle that stood out for me. Very dumb decision. Don't go that far. A Corvette's a Corvette. Doesn't matter what you throw on it. At the end of the day, it's just something to take you from A to B. And that right there is what you call growth. Okay. Because the Corvette isn't who I am as a person, but it at once was a representation of something that was meaningful to me. And so, guess what? My mind started seeing all of the time Corvettes everywhere. And so then the brain starts to be fixated on the idea of what it is that we want for ourselves based on what we surround ourselves with. How many guys are seeing real estate deals more often because you're involved with this group? Come on. You could just be driving around the hood after joining a session with Q and boom, holy crap, that could be a deal right there, right? Like, hey, oh my God, I see a friend of mine selling a property on Facebook. Those opportunities didn't present themselves to you. You are now in alignment with what it is that God's trying to show you. And that is called a reticular activating system. That is the psychological backing of one thing that has been attained, a piece of knowledge, an experience, a trauma. You notice how people who go through trauma just tend to fall into it even more is because their brain starts to see things like that. If a victim mentality person tends to believe that they're a victim mentality person, guess what they're going to be seeing all of the time? That is the psychological piece of what it is to create a paradigm in your mind and a paradigm that's going to repeat itself every single day. That's why when we roll out of bed, our feet touch the ground. It's something that we've literally conditioned ourselves to do. And for whatever reason, it's normal. Had God would have told you that your hands have to touch the ground before your feet do, we'd all be barrel rolling out of bed and probably be a lot healthier than we usually are. But what's the first notion that people do when they get out of bed? Move their legs to the side, feet touch the ground. That is a literal conditioning that you have put on yourself. And so it's funny to me when people tell me that, they don't believe that they can make a lot of money because then I tell them you're right. You've already proven yourself right. I don't know what else to tell you. So by joining this group, I'm trying to break that paradigm so I can show you that this is something that is possible and the opportunities are going to be seen more often. This is what desire is about. And this is why having that first rule here in this thing that we're doing, right? Number one is desire, but we have to first get a number. How much money do we need? Not just want, but do we need? Be exact. That's going to be step one. Whatever that number is, I need y'all to be real about it and write it down, okay? So we're going to go back to my screen real quick and we're going to go back to the book. Where are we at? Screens, book. The second piece. This is one of the most valuable parts of this call. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money that you desire. There is no such reality as something for nothing. Guys, giving just doesn't mean to offer a service. It means to like what exactly are we going to give? How many calls are we going to make? How many people are we going to talk to? How many offers are we going to send out? How many text messages are we going to send? What are we going to give in return for the money that we desire? It's a part service and it's also a part of actionable things that we're willing to put into what it is that we're going to do. Guys, you ever heard the term give it your all, right? Well, what exactly is all? So then second is, what do you choose to give for return, right? Guys, no matter what it is that you do, I promise you right now, if y'all start going to the gym, even if it's for 15, 20 to 30 minutes a day, you will see results, even if your diet is terrible. It may take you 5 years, 10 years, but those things are going to compound over time. You will see results no matter what. You could be eating the worst ever. Give yourself 10 years of going to the gym every single day, 15 to 20 minutes a day. You will see results because the input will always match the output. What you give has an irrefutable, non-negotiable factor on what the outcome will be, no matter what. It's just how intense do you give it? How much purpose do you go about giving it? And how much tenacity are you willing to do to get there faster? Because for some people, it could take 4 years, 5 years. I've seen people lose weight and enter a bodybuilding championship and win in a year. I've seen it. And so then what are you willing to give in return? That's going to be the next piece of what we're talking about here. Okay. So I'm gonna drop that into the thing that we're doing here. Because I know that we are just like taking off on this, man. I hope that you guys are getting value from this. What do you give to receive? That is a very valuable piece here. Okay. And now the third piece. The third piece is you have to establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money that you desire. What is the date? Now, for a lot of you guys, y'all want this to happen fast, right? So then what's the real time frame that we can give ourselves here? What's the real time frame that we are willing to drop into what it is that we know that we're capable of having? How much time are we going to give ourselves? How much time are you guys giving yourselves? I'm interested in knowing what's the time, right? And so like for me, I'm giving myself until 2027 to in my birthday, July 20th, 2027, I'll have over $27 million in my bank account. And it's 27,876, 392, something like that. I have it written down somewhere. I have to go and grab it, but it's in my office and I get a chance to really look at it every other day. But start normal. Give yourself a normal number. Give yourself something you know that's realistic and that's attainable. Then give yourself the time frame. And so for me, we give ourselves a date of when we will possess the money. That's number four. That's number three. That's number three. Now the fourth piece, and this is what a lot of people are missing here, man. Guys, and I want to really just help y'all right now. And there's probably some resources that you're not even actually digging into, right? And I'm gonna actually use one of you guys as an example real quick and do a creative play with you. And we'll do this together, okay? And I'm gonna show y'all what's here for you, what's valuable and what can be done for you in a matter of seconds based on a couple of questions, okay? And so the fourth piece is we have to create a plan. What do you think the plan is, y'all? Come on, we've been talking about it. What is this giant square? It's our vision, but it's also our what? It's our, come on, drop it in the comments, drop it in the comments. It's our massive what?
Action
Massive,
plan.
massive action plan. Exactly, James, exactly. It's a massive action plan. So that's what we're going to do, right? That's what we're going to do. We're going to create a plan. And that's going to be something, these are tasks that will be carried out every single day. Not just Monday through Friday, not just Monday through Tuesday, not just Monday through no, we're doing this every day. We have to go after it like this. Otherwise, it's never going to materialize and become what it is that we want. And now, number five, and this is probably very substantial. Write out a clear statement of the amount of money that you intend to acquire, name the time limit for its acquisition, state what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. So this is the statement. Create your statement. What is it for you guys? I don't know. I really don't know yet. I'm still getting to know you guys, right? But for me, I think when you have a statement, you ever just spoke in front of a bunch of people before your truth and said that this is what's going to happen? But when was the last time you did that internally for yourself? And so again, I'll be real with y'all, and I'll tell you guys what I'm talking about. How much do we need exact, right? Well, let's be exact. By July 20, by July 20th, 2027, I will have over $27 million in my bank account. I will do so by giving massive amounts of value to anybody who comes within my proximity. I will show them how they can flip real estate without using any of their own money and none of their own credit, and how they can build a legacy for their family. I will end suffering for every single human being that comes into contact with me that I possibly can. My plan is I will speak on stages. I will speak in front of hundreds of people on Zoom calls. I will make meaningful pieces of content. I will make thousands of pieces of short form content. I will post my brand all over social media until I am blue in the face so that everybody knows my mission, my statement, and what God is doing in my life. That is your statement. This is number 6, the dedication. This is the missing part. Now, once you have that statement, the rules are you have to read it to yourself in the morning before you start your day, and then you have to say it to yourself at night before your day is over. Okay. And so, this is one of the best things that I've ever done for anybody to get a true measurement on where it is they want to go. So, guys, look at this now. Like, we have what I would consider X marks the spot. Now, for the reality of it, we're going to say that it's right here, but now we know where we're going, right? We understand where it is that we are going on this map. It's right across the way, the map right here, this little ending point, that's where we're at. And we're going to call this X, okay? I'm going to say X. Where's it at? Crap. Because X marks the spot. Make that a little bit bigger. X marks the spot. That's what a map normally has on it, right? Like a treasure map from back in the day when we were kids. We knew where we were at because the map would kind of tell us, but we would have to pinpoint what exactly, like where exactly on the map we were located. We just did that right now. How much money, how much resources, how much time, how much systems we're going to put in place, what's the plan? We just created that in this piece of literature right here, this small little scripture of thought. By identifying this, we now know where it is that we're going to go. So we know what X is now. We don't have to worry about it so much because we understand where it is that we are trying to go. Now, the reality of this is this is the part that people don't talk about. Okay. How many of y'all now know where it is that you're gonna go? Right? You've figured it out, you've drawn it out, it's in front of us. We all have like a definite idea of what it is that we're trying to do. This is how most of y'all move now. Does this look familiar to anybody? Huh? Does this look like something that happens once you have a plan? How many guys ever thought about losing weight and then this is what happened after a couple of months in? You just kind of gave up, right? Come on, man. I know I'm speaking to somebody here. I don't mean to talk negatively about you guys, but this is what your plan looks like when you're not moving directly in that direction. Okay. You get distracted. You start playing the game like this is GTA or something, and there's all these side missions, and some person comes up to you, they're like, yo, CJ, hey man, we need you to complete this little side mission real quick. That's not how life is, bro. But it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that because although we have a mission statement, things happen, death in the family, life goes upside down, money runs out. We stop going after it with the same level of tenacity that we went after it with because we forget the meaningful parts and of why we even decided to do this in the first place. Am I talking to somebody? Come on. I know I'm reaching someone here when I say that this is not outside of the spectrum of what it is that we were trying to do for ourselves. I am guilty of this. I'm guilty of this. I know this because even today I still struggle with it, right? And so, guys, I want to show y'all something real fast that really helped me out. And I'm going to kind of bring it over here real quick because I think that this right here is one of the most, this really helped me get aligned. Okay. And I'm going to kind of do this for y'all real quick. And I think that we can all be on the same page here. This thing that happened years ago, it happened on 9/11. There were these two towers, right? Do y'all remember how big those towers were? They were huge. They were literally huge. And what happened was is that these two towers, right? They were like historic landmarks, probably the biggest, highest buildings ever built in the United States of America. It was almost like if you were standing at the top of them, you could feel the earth move. Like you could feel the buildings wobble. It was crazy. And so, a very tragic thing had happened, and a lot of people lost their lives. And so I want to honor them today by speaking of this. It was very tragic. We pray over the lives of those who were affected. Maybe some people in this call might have been affected by it. I remember exactly where I was when 9/11 happened. Where were you guys when 9/11 happened? Let me know in the comment section while I'm explaining this. Now, before 9/11, these buildings were huge. One of my favorite childhood movies of all time, you got a chance to see what it looked like being all the way up there. In this childhood movie, it was called Home Alone, Lost in New York. Donald Trump happens to be in this movie too, but I just remember he went all the way up to the top. They actually removed that part from the movie. So if you watch it streaming live on Netflix, Disney, or whatnot, those buildings aren't there anymore. They actually took that whole scene out to honor the families and the loved ones of those who lost their lives that day, and the servicemen who were there that also lost their lives that day. So when we think about this for a second, right? Let's say those two towers were still there, and let's say we were around during this time frame. Okay. And so let's say you and me, whoever you are that's listening to this right now, you and me, okay, it's just us. You and I are standing at the top of this tower, and I'm going to put us both here as stars. Standing at the top of this tower, and I'm going to make these stars kind of small so that we can both fit over here. We just standing there, okay? Now, I just so happen to be one of these dudes that likes to bet. And I swear to you, I'm working on this problem that I have, but I love sports bets. So it's been something that I've been doing for a while now. But we're up here on this tower. I want y'all to be here with me for a second. Close your eyes and try to vision that you're standing with Q at the top of this tower, and Q's the crazy bastard that brought you all the way up there. So now we're there. We both look over and look all the way down, and we're like, yo, this is high. This is really high. And so, me being the betster that I am, I say, all right, guys, this is what we're going to do. Okay. We're going to do this. I am going to go on ahead and I'm going to take this giant plank that's no bigger than my head. And if y'all ever meet me in real life, you'll see I got a pretty big head, but it's probably big enough for your foot. And I'm going to connect it to the other tower. Okay. Now, I'm a betster. I just talked about it. I like to bet. I'm sorry. But you and I are next to each other now. We're next to each other. Be with me in this moment. Really, close your eyes and envision us very, very high up. I put one plank there with no security. How I got it there, don't even worry about it. I'm crazy like that. I just happened to pull things out of my ass, and getting a board from one side of a building 3 blocks the other way is pretty intense, but I got it done. And so now there's a board, and now I'm a betster. And I say, hey, man, I'll tell you what, Candace, Andre, Ace, Lillian, Christian, whoever you are that's watching this, Corey, I'll give you $10,000 if you walk across this plank right now with no safety or protection. You might die, but it's 10 grand in your pocket. How many of you in the comments would do it? And just be honest. Is it worth your life? 10 grand? Let me know. And it's okay, guys, to say no. It's okay to say no. And for y'all that say, yeah, dude, you got some balls, man. Just remind me next time. I bet when you were in school, you probably snorted Pitsy sticks for like $5. But to me, 10 grand, don't you guys think that y'all can see that money without crossing a plank with no safety to another side of a building that's 3 blocks away, and somehow there's just this plank that's no bigger than my forehead that you can plant your foot on? There's a huge chance that you'll fall. It's almost indefinite, right? It's insane. And so, all right, 10 grand. A lot of you guys wouldn't do it for 10. Now, what if we were to up this number? What if I were to add another zero? Okay, $100,000, you walk across the plank. Is it still worth dying for? It's 100 grand. It's definitely more than what we might have now, but I'm pretty sure that some of you guys might be able to say that you're going to make 100 grand at some point in this life. And maybe it's not worth it now. I mean, think about your kids and your family and the people that love you. Who would you let down if you fell off of this building right now? Because Q somehow talked you in to walking across it. Okay? All right. So 100 grand. Let's up it even more. One more time. One more time, and we'll stop there. I will give you $1 million cash money right now if you walk across this plank and risk your life. Is it worth it still? I feel the same way. I'm gonna be real. When somebody first asked me this question, I still kind of like was like, $1 million. You know what I'm saying? That might be something that might make it worth it. I'm kind of leaning into it, kind of not. I'm sure if I looked down into the building, I'd still be kind of scared at how high up we were, you know? And then I think about those people who took their own lives that jumped off because they didn't have a choice. It was either die of suffocation and smoke or burn alive or jump off and meet your death at the bottom, right? You really had a choice there. And I can kind of justify what they were doing to some extent, but I just remember seeing how scary that looked. And looking at all the videos of those people who jumped out of it, I don't think I'd have the balls with that in my mind to just risk my life for $1 million like that. Okay? Now, if y'all can just do me a favor and close your eyes with me for just 1 second, please. 1 second. Close your eyes with me and just listen to the sound of my voice. And I want you to tell me in the comments section, you're going to open your eyes after I ask this question, and you're going to tell me the first thing that came to your mind. Okay? Who do you love the most in this world? And if they died today, you would be absolutely devastated. Devastated. It would rip you apart. Who do you love the most in this world? Let me know who they are in the comment section. First person that came to your mind. Ah, I love this. This is great. Wife, mom, son, daughter. Okay. Now, I want you to close your eyes with me one more time. Okay. Just let my voice guide you and be with me for a moment. We are all here in this moment now, and let's all just be real and let's be in this moment. If you're at work, if you're driving, just be in this moment with me. I understand you can't close your eyes. It's okay. But let's be in this moment. I want to go ahead and put that person on the other side. And then what I want to do is I want you to picture a plane flying directly into the building. And that person that you love the most in this world is screaming for you to come and save them because their building is on fire and they're all the way at the top. And the only way that you can get to them is from this plank. They are screaming the most gut wrenching scream that you could ever possibly think, and they are begging you to come and save them. Now, would you guys cross this plank? You know why, guys? Is because sometimes the things that we're doing these things for mean a lot more than money, a lot more than money. I would have never have thought of what anybody was feeling in that moment when that plane went into that building and they saw it topple down, knowing that so many loved ones that they had worked there and what they wish they would have been able to do, right? This is one of the hardest lessons that I've ever had to learn because in my life, all I ever wanted was a lot of money. And when I finally got it, I lost everything that was so meaningful to me. I lost my son, I lost my wife, I lost myself in the pursuit of what I thought was something that I was doing it for, when reality, I wasn't. I was just doing it for the money. But let me tell you how much closer I've gotten to my goals these days because I've reprogrammed my mind from thinking about just the income and looking more at the outcome, the things that I was actually doing this for. And so I use this example because this example is how you create a purpose driven movement in the direction that it is that you want to go. And so, by no means am I trying to use that as an example to be, how do you say, I don't want to be unkind or inconsiderate on what had happened to those who actually made it happen, that were there, that experienced those losses. But I want to bring those same emotions to you so that you know what this is about. Guys, guess what happens when X is part of the equation? I want you to take what this statement is that you wrote down, and I want you to dedicate it to the very person that you put into that chat box right now. Your mom, your brother, your sister, your kids. I want you to sit them down with this statement that you've drawn out, and I want you to tell them this from your heart, what it is that you are trying to do, even if they are too young to understand. I did this for my wife and my son just a couple of months ago as we started to become a family again. And I told them what I was setting out to do. And part of what I was setting out to do was doing this for you guys. You know, I told myself that I was going to impact millions of people, and it starts with the 16 people that are inside of this Zoom call. Guess what happens, y'all, when you do this? Guess what happens? Guys, like there is a straight line from where it is that you are right now to where it is that you get to go. There is no curvature like what was happening before, where we're going all over the place. Why? Why? Is because we're backed by purpose and we're backed by passion. These are the two things that make us who we are whenever we're moving in any type of direction. Is when we have purposeful movements that are backed by passion, passion meaning like we're almost in tears thinking about our family members being in that predicament, in that situation. I would have lost all reality, all thought, all freaking like sense of like literal logic to have ran across that plank to get to the person that I loved. No amount of money will ever make you do something like that. No amount of money will ever make you risk everything to lose this life to get to the other side. But the person that you are doing it for, that is where you lose all literal sanity and you decide to just do something that's outside of the spectrum that most people will never understand. And this is one of the biggest things that I've ever learned in life is that when we create these things for ourselves, guess what? We're going to get to where we're at in a shorter period of time because we've defined what exactly it is that we are trying to do and who we are trying to do it for. How many times you ever try to do something for yourself and you let yourself down? That's almost everybody in here. I am no different from that. It happens to me. You see, guys, no matter how old you get, temptation is always going to be there. Temptation can be anything. It could be falling off of the book and deciding not to read it anymore. It could be the food that you're consuming. It could be the pornography that you haven't stopped watching, the masturbation that you're doing that you know that doesn't benefit you anymore. It could be the negative things that you choose to indulge in every single day. Temptation never goes away. It never goes away. But when we walk with what God is giving to us and we stop living in the flesh and we allow for the Holy Spirit to be a part of our God given goals, guess what? You will not, like it says this in Timothy chapter 2. You can read the whole thing. When the Holy Spirit has entered the human body, no anxiety, no doubt, no lack of self worth, no timidness shall be present. It doesn't say that we can't feel those things because we can, and those things are constant. But that's why having a relationship with our Creator and our God given vision of what it is that we want for ourselves is so imperative. Is that when we try to fall into temptation, that we sit in prayer, we sit in meditation, that we remember why it is that we're doing what we're doing, that we remember the book, the courses that we're buying, the things that we haven't fully completed. How many of you guys are in here and you haven't even gone through all the course material yet? Believe me, there's probably a lot of you guys. Team, I've been wanting to run ads. I've never ran ads in my whole life. Everything that I've done all the way up until this point has always been organic. I sat down this whole weekend and I watched about 30 hours worth of ads training on YouTube. And I joined another school group on how to run ads to grow my school community because my goal is to have this group to over 1,000 members by the end of next year or die trying. And so, like, I have this goal to impact millions of people. This is part of why I am doing these things. This is why I'm doing these Zoom calls and I'm here with you guys. I'm here with you guys. And so I'm telling you guys this because it's so imperative that you draw out this map for yourself. This map is something you can take with you. But what's even more imperative is aligning it with the people that you are doing it for. Because I promise you, you might let yourself down. But dude, if my mom told me to go out there and win and that she believed in me, I'm sorry, but like I will not let my mother down. Like I will not let my mother down. I love my mom. You know, and so if it's your mom, if it's your spouse, if it's your partner, if it's your coworker, if it's your friend, if it's your brother, if it's your sister, whoever it is, your kids even that you love the most, You may let yourself down a million times, but I promise you, you're going to be at every single baseball game because that means so much more to you than to just go out there and put a property under contract. And this is what walking and living your business with purpose is. Some of us just have this idea of what it is that we want for ourselves. This is, it's not just what we want for ourselves, but it's what God wants for us. And if we don't go after it with that level of tenacity, then we're never going to get to it. And until we understand the reason why we're doing it, we're just every single day is just going to be a repetitive thing. We're just going to wake up, go home, go to work, fall asleep. Wake up, go to work, go home, go fall asleep. Wake up, go home, go to work, go fall asleep. Repeat, 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 repeat until you're 60 years old and you're in the graveyard. You're part of that statistic of people who had potential, but they didn't use it and they died. I don't want that to be you. That's why you're here. I'm wanting you guys to do something great with what God has given you. And so I want y'all to draw out that map for whatever it is for you. And then I want you to write out a clear, concise statement on what that map means for you and really draw out your plan. I want to see you guys completing the course. Y'all know I can see who's actually gone through the courses, right? Like y'all know I keep track of how many people show up to these meetings, right? Like I can tell when some of you guys just kind of want it. And I don't want that for y'all. I want y'all to come in here and really, really want it. I want y'all to take these meetings as seriously as possible. Man, there just has to come a point in your life where you stop playing with what God has given you. You've already been given the gift. Remember this, and I talked about this in a previous mastermind. I said, God has never created a chair, never created a table, never created the house. He just gave us the tree. And what we did with that tree is our gift to him. So when God gives you this life, what you do with this life is your gift to him. Once he gave you this life, imagine a house, imagine a table, imagine a chair, imagine all of these great things that you can create from one thing that God has given you. Okay? So that's my message for you guys. We're at the top of the hour. I really appreciate y'all joining me. The name of the book is called Think and Grow Rich. Draw out your map, write out a clear, concise statement. I go over this inside of the group. You guys are more than welcome to go through the pre-course work. I believe one of the things that I talked about was desire, and I want y'all to go through it. I even left a Google Doc there where you can write out your statement and it'll email it to you. So you can download it, print it out, smack it on the window every day, and you can see it for what it is so that you never let your mind deteriorate from the plan. Guys, temptation is always all around. No matter what it is that we do, there's always going to be temptation, but you get the chance to pray and meditate and be aligned with what God is doing for you to knock the temptation away. Okay. So I just want all you guys to take it seriously. Tomorrow, guys, we're going to be going over bots and scrapers and all of that. It's going to be super cool. So that's just my gift to y'all. It's going to be super dope. I'm going to show you guys how to kind of create a scraper to get some of the data automated that I was showing y'all in the county systems. And that's going to be an advanced course. So that's going to be tomorrow at 7 o'clock. I'll see you guys. Okay. I hope this message hits y'all home. Remember the people that you love and why you're doing this. Okay. God bless you guys. Y'all have an amazing week on purpose. On purpose. Not just a normal week, but amazing week on purpose. I'll see you guys tomorrow night.